is part of the Leadership for Women Who Code. She works for Deloitte, and she specialises in enterprise integrations. So she's actually going to do a demo today. So it's not going to be a talk, it's actually going to be some, so you keep your fingers crossed, because everyone knows like how demos have a tendency to go. As a product manager, I always get that fear. Yeah, let's bring Desy up. Cool.
All right, good afternoon. How's everyone today? Good, very good. Thank you, Emma, for the introduction. My name is Desy. I come from Indonesia, but I have lived in Belfast for about 1.5 years. I work at Deloitte in technology consulting, and I'm also a city leader at Women Who Code, so I might have met some of you at one of our previous meetups, or some of the few guys here might have also seen me on Tinder. So today I want to talk about integrations. What is integration really? I need your help today to explain what integration is. So could you all please stand up for me, please, on your feet? All right, very good. So please remain standing if you are on Facebook. Oh, interesting. Some people don't have Facebook. All right, so for those of you who are still standing, please remain standing if you are on LinkedIn. Pretty much everyone, very good. Please remain standing if you are on Twitter. Interesting. Please remain standing if you are on Google+. That's a lot. Interesting, so we still have a few people standing. Please remain standing if you have a blog. Interesting. So we have only a few people left. So okay, thank you everyone. For those of you who are still standing, I want to ask you a question. Was there ever a time when you wanted to post something on all of your social media in one go? Does anybody want to share? Yes? And how did you do it? Did you just post it one by one, or was there any clever method you did? What's that? Okay, interesting. Anything else? Anybody else has a different experience, has a different tip? Interesting. Yeah. All right, thank you. You may sit down now. So one of the examples that I wanted to mention to you was if this and that. It's probably kind of similar to the one that you mentioned. So what it does is so there is a recipe. If there is a trigger, then do this action. So for example, if I post a new photo on Instagram, please save it to my Dropbox. Or if my location is nearly home, please send a direct message to my mother, for example. So IFTTT helps you integrate all of your social media. So you can post the same thing to all of your social media, or post the photo and then save it somewhere else. Another example that I wanted to show you is Tinder. So don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to put your hand up, but I'm just going to hope that some of you might have heard of it, or at least maybe use it. So Tinder is a good example because it is integrated with some other social media as well. So you can log in with Facebook, and then Tinder can pull your name, your photos, your list of friends, the pages that you like. It is kind of creepy, but that's a good integration. And then it's also integrated with Instagram. So whenever you post a new photo on Instagram, it's also posted on your Tinder, so your potential matches can see all your pretty photos. And then it's also integrated with Spotify, so people can see what sort of music you like listening to. So hopefully that's a good example. So there are some tools out there that integrate many different social platforms, or there are also some applications that are integrated with other applications and synchronize their data or help automate certain processes. So now that we have understood what integration is, I want to talk to you about enterprise integration. Because when in an enterprise or in a business, we could be using so many different applications. For example, your customer management system, your order management system, or your HR, your invoice, payments, and so on and so forth. So these are some examples of some applications that could be used in the enterprise. And I want to talk you through a case study. So for example, here, if we have NetSuite as the order management system, and then Salesforce is the customer management system, and we also have SAP, which is the invoice management system. Say we want to integrate that. So let's say the process is, when we receive a new order in NetSuite, we want to update the customer details in Salesforce, maybe saying, oh, this is when their last order was, or the status of their order, or how much money the transaction is, and so on and so forth. And then we also want to create a new invoice in SAP for the order. So how are we going to do this? Can we take advantage of integrations in doing this? Traditionally, what we can do is point-to-point integrations. And what is point-to-point integrations? It means we connect NetSuite to Salesforce, Salesforce to SAP, and NetSuite to SAP. Sound simple? Well, in reality, you might have so many more applications in your business, and this connected to that, and that connected to this. It could be a huge maze, and everything just connected to everything else. But what if, for some reason, one of the applications is no longer supported, or let's say, oh, I want to change one of my systems, I want to use a different system, or I'm going to bring in a new app. How am I going to integrate all of this? If you're the manager, you might be like, yeah, it's okay, we'll be grand, we can do it. But if you're the developer, you'll be like, oh, why do I have to do this? Happened to me. So now, I want to introduce to you a new concept. I would call it a middleware integration. So what is it? It looks slightly different, doesn't it? All the applications are just connected to this middleware layer. And what this layer is all about is, wait, am I missing? Oh, yeah. So what we have there is, it will connect to each of the applications, and there are processes in this layer, and the processes will talk to each of the different APIs. So what is this API layer? Actually, that's essentially an adapter, because if you have many different systems, for example, NetSuite and Salesforce will have customer data to a certain extent, but they may be in different formats, maybe in XML, maybe in JSON, whatever, but they need to come into the integration layer in the same format so that the processes can work with it. So each of them, once they are converted into an API, it is essentially an adapter. Like if people from all over the world come to the UK and they want to plug in their laptop to charge, they have to use an adapter so that it can talk to so that they could charge their laptop, essentially. So in the same way, we want to convert each of the endpoints, each of the applications, so that they could talk to the processes that we have in the integration layer. So the advantage of this is, if you have many more applications, we're good. Just connect each of the application to the integration layer. We don't have to worry about A connecting to B connecting to C, B connecting to D, and everything else. So when one of the systems is deprecated, or we want to change the system, or just add a new application, we can easily plug and unplug. So why is middleware integration interesting, or why is it good? So the plug and unplug means we can save time, power, and money. So if you are that developer, you would be like, it's not too bad actually. I just need to unplug one of the existing APIs and then just plug in the new one. I don't have to rebuild everything if I need to change one of the systems. And it is also good for a modern architecture. I think some of our speakers earlier would have mentioned a bit about architecture. This will be good because the services, the APIs that we have will be reusable. So for example, if the system needs to talk to a different system, we can just use the same API, reuse it. And it's also loosely coupled, which means they are more easily interchangeable. So if you want to change the systems, and it's also easier for debugging. So if you need to figure, if there's an error and you need to figure out where the error comes from, it's easier to find that. And it's also very scalable when you have so many more applications, especially in bigger enterprises. Right, up to the fun part. I'm going to be doing a live demo. So just to explain a bit about the demo, I'm going to be integrating 4 different applications. So the first one is a Google Sheet. Sorry, before that, the demo is about a prize draw. So I have here a box of chocolate. I'm going to need your help again to participate in the demo. I'm going to be doing a prize draw using Google Sheets. So the process is, when I receive a new entry in Google Forms, I want to add the entrance to Salesforce. So I want to add you to my customer management system. And then I will pick a winner and announce the winner on Slack and on Twitter. I'm going to put this here to tempt you guys. Okay. Does that make sense? So we're going to be integrating 4 different systems, all right? So the integration layer that I'm going to use today is called Dell Boomi. It is one of the biggest enterprise integration tools. And what's happening here is essentially we have four different APIs to connect to each of the systems that we are going to use in this demo. And we have 2 processes. So the first one was going to be to sync the data from Google Sheet to Salesforce. And then the second one is going to be to pull all the data from Salesforce, pick a random winner, and then post the results on Slack and on Twitter. Okay, so please take your phones out. Please enter in the prize draw. There is a QR code. If you have the latest OS, you should be able to scan it from your camera, and then the link will appear. Or there is also a direct link if you want to type that up, if that's easier. Whoops. Right. So this here is the form. Let's see how if we have any responses. We have 8 so far. So I'm going to show you. I have here a process. I have a process in my integration layer. What it does is I want to obtain an input from the Google Forms API, and then I will do a little mapping of the entry so that is in a form that's acceptable by Salesforce, and then literally update that, send it to Salesforce. And I have deployed this as of last night, so I hope if things are okay, it should be already updated here. Let's see. So I want to see all the entries. Oh, interesting. We have 14 different entries so far. So I'll keep this link up here so that people could enter in case people are still on it. Okay. I'll keep refreshing just to show that it is actually live. Just the word, please. And don't worry about privacy. I'm going to wipe the data afterwards. I'm not going to store your information. Well, unless you want me to anyway. Let me know if you want me to follow you on Twitter. Is that good? Is everyone filled it out? Should I wait? Yeah, wait. I have more and more. Exciting. I just hope it actually works. Haven't tested it with a real live group. Okay, I think that's good enough. I think we'll work with this. We have over 50 entries so far. All right. All right. And then, so I have this other process here. What it does is it will get all the entries from Salesforce and then count how many entries there are. And then it will pick a random number and it will get the entry of that number and then post it to Slack and also post it on Twitter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this one. I think I'll make this full screen. And then we're going to go on Slack and wait for the announcement. Drum rolls. Drum rolls. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Some people are typing. Ah! Yay! Congratulations to Anna Sobelska, who has been. Yay! Congratulations. Just to show you as well, that has been posted on Twitter. Let me show you here. Yep, that's been posted. So the name, Anna, are you here? Please come down for your prize. Congratulations. Please have the chocolate. May you stay here for a bit, please? So I just wanted to ask you, did you actually enter your Twitter ID or Slack?
No.
Okay, that's why. So if you did, I would have been able to tag you on the Twitter and on the Slack account. But yeah, thank you.
Right, thanks.
Thank you everyone for participating. So back to presenting mode. Yep. So I hope that was useful. Yeah? Did that explain integration and get you involved a bit as well? So I just wanted to summarize from this talk today. So when you have multiple applications in your enterprise, you can integrate them with a middleware layer. And what's good about it is that it will help automate your processes and also create adapters for each of the application so that you can easily plug and unplug when you need to change it. And it will save you time, power, and money when you want to change your technical architecture. And also, it's a loosely coupled reusable services, and it's a very scalable, which is a good modern architecture. All right. I think that's all for today. I'm happy to take any questions from the floor if we have the time. Yeah? Yes? Oh, sadly, I don't have any more chocolate. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, please.
Does it cost a lot for that, Boomi? Do you know?
Yes, it is. It can be quite an expensive tool because it works as a subscription, but there are other alternatives as well. But they have different pricing models depending on how many connectors you need, how many atoms, because these are run on atoms, how many atoms you need to deploy the processes as well. No problem. Any more questions from the floor about integrations or anything else? Yes?
Starting off, like what people do not want to put their account or architecture in.
It depends because, for example, you can break down the process into smaller processes. So, for example, here, what I had actually was in this pick a random winner process, it calls 2 other processes. So, post to Slack is a process on its own. So you can do unit testing on each of the sub-processes. You can test just this alone or this already integrated with the other processes. And post to Twitter is a separate process as well. So I have this, I can test this just on its own. Does that answer the question? Yeah? Thank you. Anybody else? Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you very much.
So we are now taking our last break of the day. So you've got about 15 minutes to go out and grab those sugary tray bakes and or healthy veggie sandwiches. One thing I would say, guys, is I hope people are doing their bingo cards.